Welcome to the Holistic Transformation Podcast, sponsored by the Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy. I'm your host, Dr. Beverly, and tonight we're going to talk about the moon, your emotional wellness by the moon, lunar phases, and how they shape your self-care, how you can use the phases to support your self-care. And so let me just do a quick share screen because I always like to use slides. And you can take screenshots or whatever if you need to. Okay. Oh, let me go into viewing mode. That way they're a little bit bigger for you. Okay, so first we'll talk about the lunar phases and your emotions. So the moon we're going to talk about a new moon, the waxing phase, the full moon, the waning phase, and the new moon. So we won't have that many. We'll only have basically the four main phases of the moon. So the moon moves through an entire cycle, roughly, it's actually like 28 and a half days, something like that. So it's not quite 29. That's why sometimes the moon's out at night, sometimes it's out during the day, because it's not quite 28 days. And each phase brings a unique emotional and energetic experience because it's not the same every time. It's either growing larger and the energy is growing, or it's getting smaller. It's, waxing and waning. So when you start tuning into this rhythm, you'll notice that your moods can change, your energy level changes, your sleep patterns will change, especially I'm heavily affected by the moon. I'm a Cancer rising, so everything the moon does, I'm affected. And they shift with where the moon is and what's going on. And when you start to notice that, then you can start to get more in tune with what's going on internally for you. So for a new moon, this is the darkest phase. So that's when you go outside and you can't see. I know one time I drove someplace and it was the middle of nowhere on a dirt road, and it was a new moon and there were no street lights. And I was trying to read street signs and I couldn't read them. Well, my flashlight wouldn't shine that far to show the sign. I had to back up my car, point it up a hill so I could use the headlights on my car to read the sign. It was pretty bad. It was the scariest. Normally you're someplace they have street lights or whatever. And this place was literally the middle of nowhere on a dirt road. Yeah, it was scary. So that's a new moon. So this is the darkest phase. The sky is quiet. It's introspective time. This is when you go within. Probably don't want to go out on a new moon, because unless you live in a city where there's like the city I live on, it's only got like 14,000 people. It's a tiny and it's a dark city. So everything shuts down at 10 o'clock. So when you go out at night, it's pretty dark. I have to put my brights on to drive through my neighborhood to get home at night. Okay. So if you live in a city that's awake all night long, you probably have light all night long and you don't notice the new moon. So it depends on where you live and what's going on. So this is the darkest phase. It's time to retreat inward, to rest, to plant seeds. Like if I'm going to make a tincture, I started on a new moon. If I'm going to plant a garden, I started on a new moon. So this is, if you keep a journal, you should be keeping a journal. Okay, I talk about journals all the time. They're very important. Set your intentions. What are you going to do over this next 28, 29-day cycle? What are your goals? What is your intention? So you might feel low energy at this time, and you might actually want to be alone. You may want to meditate more or visualize the future you're trying to manifest. And if you do, go ahead and honor that. It's normal. Okay, so a first quarter moon. So this is between the new moon and the full moon. So this is where the first, this is, oh, I don't know. I wrote this last week. That's not where we are this week. Sorry. So you need to know where you are. I think we're about to have a full moon coming up. I write them ahead of time and I record them ahead of time, and that got off. So it's the moon half lit, urging gentle action. You might feel small challenges popping up to test your resolve. Yeah, there's one. It's a perfect time to take small, intentional steps and adjust your plans, like proofreading things before you present them. Okay, full moon. So that's when the moon is bright. And I always go outside and look at a full moon. There's something about a full moon that just mesmerizing for me. So here the moon is radiant, fully illuminated. Emotions can run high. Things come to light, and often we're called to release or celebrate. This is when you harvest. You harvest the garden. If you're making a tincture, you harvest the tincture. It's a beautiful time for rituals. We'll talk a little bit about rituals at the end, of gratitude or letting go of what no longer serves you. So it's a good time to go through the house and get rid of any clutter you don't need anymore. So you do not have any surgeries at this time. So if you talk to ER doctors, they'll tell you the ER is insane during a full moon. People bleed excessively. It's hard to stop the bleeding. That's why no surgeries during a full moon. Watch the phases of the moon and schedule. If you have to have a surgery, hopefully you don't. But if you do, make sure you don't schedule it during the new moon, during the full moon. So it's a crazy time. That's when the werewolves come out. If you believe in werewolves, I don't know that I believe in them, but it's a time when people go crazy. So just know that. That's full moon time. Okay, then there's the last quarter moon. So that's when it gets getting smaller now, and you're between the full moon and the new moon. So as the light wanes, this phase is about reflection and surrender. So you might want to write in your journal, what do you want to let go of, either emotionally, physically, materially? What is it you're letting go? And tie up any loose ends you might have, any forgiveness you need to do, declutter. This is a great time to declutter, both emotionally and physically, and in your house and in your work, whatever. And prepare to rest again as the cycle closes. So this is a powerful use in how these phrases echo our own inner seasons. And even women, when they live together, they'll synchronize their menses. It's just, it's part of that energy. We have a lot of water in our body. Different parts of the body have different amounts of water, like the bones, only have about 20%, but other parts of the body may have as much as 70% water. So, the moon controls the tides. Well, if it's strong enough to move ocean water, then it's strong enough to move the water within you, right? So just think about that. So let's talk about a lunar self-care toolkit. So you can build your own personal toolkit that matches these lunar tides and your particular needs. So some suggestions might be like, get some teas that help you when you have certain challenges. You can get the essential oils that you like, the flower remedies, the incense, or whatever it is that you use it in your life to help you deal with emotional changes. And with the moon, it's mostly emotional. Okay, so here's some herb tea suggestions. You might try chamomile for calming down those new moons. I love chamomile. I use it all the time. Another one, it's not here, but another one that's really good is peppermint. It will calm your digestive system if you need help there. And help you to let go. So during the second phase, you might need the peppermint. Lemon balm around the full moon helps when nerves can feel jangled, or mugwort is beautiful for intuition, especially under the waxing moon, or we're on herbs teas. More suggestions is listened in last week's podcast where I shared suggestions based on your natal chart. Okay, essential oils like ylang ylang, it brings emotional balance. Now it's kind of expensive, so you might want to find a blend for bringing emotional balance so that, because this is pretty expensive essential oils, you can buy other ones that have it in it that have other combined oils. Or you can try clary sage, which helps clear your mind. And you can diffuse these or add a drop to warm bath, or you can just sniff it from the bottle. You can't use these directly on your skin, so you'd have to put them in something. Okay, Bach flower essence suggestions would include aspen. It's great for vague fears that bubble up under the moon. You're afraid of something, you don't know what it is, what's going on. Or walnut, it helps during times of transition, like shifting intentions from one phase to the next. So if you're going through any kind of transformation, you might want to consider some walnut. So some rituals you might want to do now. People, if you do like meetup or some of those community type next door, you may find there are groups of people already doing new moon and full moon rituals near you, and you can join in. It's always more fun when there's groups of people, or you can set one up for yourself, for you and your friends. So a new moon, you want to journal your intentions. And this is when you journal it and you write it down, you're saying, I'm serious about this. This is my intention. This is what I want. That's the power. It's not just in your head. If it's in your head, it just goes away. When you actually physically write it down, and I like to draw pictures. So I'll set an intention. I'll draw a picture of my intention. And then for a first quarter, you might want to create a plan. So, write that in your journal. What is your plan? Map it out, whatever you need to do some incense and visualize your plan. Then for a full moon, it's about release or celebrate under the moonlight. Now, like I said, I always go out, celebrate under the moonlight, but it's also a good time to begin release because the second half of the waning moon is about releasing. So journal, what is it you want to release? What are you going to let go of? And make a plan to do that release. And then the last quarter is meditate or cleanse your space. So this is where you're going to declutter, clean house, spring clean, whatever. So the key is not rigid perfection. In other words, it's got to be just right. No, it's just these are the energies, the cycles. So you can incorporate your own personal self-care into this living, breathing lunar practice. So we used to have a lunar calendar with 13 months, and they took it away from us because they don't want us to be spiritual. But when you get into the habit of following the moon, and there's 13 months to the year, not 12, everyone says, oh, there's only 12, everything is based on 4 elements. No, there's 5 elements, and it's not square, it's round, and there's 13, and it works perfectly. Okay. So affirmations. So here's some affirmations you might want to use. So let's just calm yourself. If you're driving, of course, you can't do this, but if you're at home, just stop what you're doing, sit down if you're not already sitting, and just calm yourself and just take a nice, slow, long inhale, pause, and exhale. And just keep doing that. Inhale and exhale. And just repeat to yourself, I honor my ever-changing tides. I care for myself with compassion and trust the rhythm of my soul. And so it is. or you can do whatever ritual or affirmation works for you. Oh, here's the rituals. I do have rituals. Okay. So aspen is wonderful for vague fears that bubble up under the moon. That's what do you call it? Flower essence. And walnut is also a flower essence. And that helps during times of transition, like shifting intentions from one phase to the next. So it should have said, I got the wrong title there. Sorry about that. We did the ritual up here and I called it gentle affirmation. I think, yeah, we got rituals here. I guess I messed up my slides. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, so I want to thank you for joining us. And I'd love to explore with you your own personal moon sign and how it's changing for you and your emotional landscape and intuitive needs. So I'd be honored to guide you with a medical astrology reading. And there will be a link down below so you can book your chart reading with me. There's also a link down below for the July 30th class that I'll be teaching. So remember to stay gentle, stay luminous, and remember to be the light you want to see in the world.